Thank you, David. As David mentioned, I'm Kara Laney, and I'm a study director with the National Research Council at the National Academy of Sciences. We're pleased to host this summit today. Thank you for joining us. As many of you know, the National Research Council is the operating arm of the National Academy of Sciences, a private, nonprofit institution chartered by Congress in 1863 to provide science, technology, and health policy advice to the government. We enlist leading scientists, engineers, and other experts to serve pro bono on ad hoc committees to answer scientific and technical questions facing the United States and the world. As David mentioned, our connection to this topic comes from a 2010 report that we released called The Impact of Genetically Engineered Crops on Farm Sustainability in the United States. You'll be hearing soon from Ray Dussom, and later in the day you'll also be hearing from Mike Owen and Dave Irving, all of whom served on that committee. One of the main findings of that report was that the resistance in weeds to glyphosate was becoming more common in fields with glyphosate-resistant crops, and that without changes in management practices, that trend was likely to continue. The traction that finding gained led us to organize the National Summit on Herbicide Resistance in Weeds in 2012, which David mentioned. And as he said, that summit and this one look at herbicide resistance in all production systems, not just those growing genetically engineered crops. As the Weed Science Society continues to place focus on the issue of herbicide resistance in weeds, we're going to turn our attention to the issue of pest resistance at a more larger scale. So we will be exploring what the state of resistance is not only in weeds, but also in insects, fungi, and pathogens. We want to know what the problem of evolved resistance, where it is occurring, and if it is occurring at similar rates in these different pest communities, and what farmers, companies, government agencies, and university researchers are doing to address evolved resistance. At this point, we are just learning about the issue and exploring if there is a role for the National Research Council to play, with the possibility of organizing a future workshop or a future study. It's a beginning effort, but if it develops to something in the future, we will be planning to keep groups like this audience involved, and we will be looking to you for your contributions, both in terms of sponsorship for activities and for keeping us abreast of new developments and issues related to pest resistance. Thank you again for being here today.
Okay, we've got about 5 minutes. If anybody has a question or a comment for David, please go to the mic, introduce yourself, and let's hear it. Okay, if we don't have any questions or comments, thank you, David. You did a good job. You've got us on time. The next presentation is Understanding the Decision Process, and I can't wait to hear that. Dr. Ray Dussom from Michigan State University, who's professor and chair of the Department of Sociology, will make that presentation. Ray?